This is Lawyers in Defense of Democracy in coalition, in collaboration with civil society organizations. And we are here to address the press, particularly on a live broadcast at the TVC, because we want the attention of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to be drawn to these salient human rights issues that we want to raise. And while Lawyers in Defense of Democracy and the coalition of civil society organizations have covered plans and intelligent information reaching us, is that the Pro-Wike lawmakers, the Pro-Wike group, that will not rest until they achieve what they want to achieve. They want to achieve anarchy in the land. They want to achieve anarchy in River State. They are not resting now that all the judgments, all the black market judgments, all the black market expected orders they secured at the Federal High Court is being upturned at the appellate courts. They are not resting. What they are now planning to do is to frame up the spokesperson and leader of some group of opposition lawmakers in the National Assembly, led by Honorable Chenga Imo Gochunyene. The Pro-Wike lawmakers are planning to frame him up, to collaborate with security agencies such as the Nigerian police, the DSS, to make some allegations against him, and that will lead to his arrest and forceful, malicious prosecution. And we are here to alert the public and to tell the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that the work stops on his table. He is our president. He is the president Nigerians elected, and the issue of human rights abuse must not be left unchecked under his administration. And they are also planning to frame up the chairman of the Action People's Party, Honorable Barrister Uche Nadi. What it is their intention is what we don't know, but it's not unconnected with the battle for the soul of River State, which, of course, Nigerians will testify that Honorable Chenga Gochunyene has been very vocal, has insisted that justice must prevail in River State. All the abracadabra, all the plans to frustrate the government of River State, have received severe resistance, by group of coalition opposition lawmakers in the National Assembly, led by Honorable Chenga Gochunyene. And of course, we also know that of recent, the local government election in River State was held, and the party that is under the chairmanship of Barrister Uche Nadi provided a platform, for peaceful conduct of River State election, which they also sought to sabotage by obtaining ex parte application from Justice Lufiu, which ex parte application, of course, all the black market applications they secured are now being obtained by the Court of Appeal, that have not seen the reason to allow justice prevail, not to allow anarchy, in the land. So this press briefing is addressed by Lawyers in Defense of Democracy. We will continue to defend democracy in this country because the incumbent president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, led the struggle for the survival of democracy. He was part of the Nadeko struggle. In fact, at a point, he went on exile. And even during Abuja days, people could still express people could still exercise their fundamental right of free speech. That is the only thing we have got as Nigerians, as we are talking. That is the only right that is left for us, and the security agencies cannot continue to intimidate Nigerians who exercise their right of free speech, to condemn bad governance, to condemn corruption, to condemn all the illegalities, that has been happening under the watchful eye of our elected political leaders. So the National Working Committee of the Action People's Party, and in collaboration with the Lawyers in Defense of Democracy, we are here to alert the Nigerian public, particularly our dear President, a Democrat, who led struggle for the survival of this democracy as an ADECO leader, to know that Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere has not committed any crime, that he should be framed up, for purported bribing judges. The other time he was framed up in Imo State for whatever, I don't know, the people there think they could frame him up, and all those legal battles he survived. We want to alert Mr. President to know that the stance of Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere to ensure that democracy is sustained within the ambits of the rule of law, and he has been speaking he has been very vocal in condemning, illegalities, particularly as is being perpetrated or plot to be perpetrated in River State. Opposition, credible oppositions, and constructive criticism, such as we have seen, in the charisma displayed by Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere and Michael, helps government to do better. Constructive criticism help government to do better. Where the government is not doing better, you are criticized constructively, you do better. So we are calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to know that what Ikenga Ugochinyere and the group of opposition coalition lawmakers in the National Assembly are doing, what they have done in supporting food. But of course, a majority of them are elected under the PDP platform. And the governor of River State is also a governor elected under the PDP platform. So what they have done is to advocate for the rule of law within the ambit of their constitutional right to free speech. So if somebody is now frustrated, you feel that you have been defeated, from all angles, all your black market expatriate orders you secured with the aid of the justices of the Federal High Court, have been obtained at the Superior Court, and you now think that the best way to now go is to come after the man, who have led this struggle for the survival of democracy in River State. You now think that the next thing we should do is to frame him up, collaborate with the police, collaborate with DSS, and of course, we now challenge the IG of police. The IG of police, whom I understand to be a lawyer, cannot, under the police, the Nigerian police force, cannot, under his watchful eye, become now an instrument of terror. It used to be the DSS under Bichi, and of course, you saw the disgrace that followed him when his removal was announced. You saw the celebration that erupted at the Department of State Services to show you that the man himself, not only did he terrorize activists, not only did he terrorize Nigerians, he also terrorized his own staff. That was the reason for that abrupt eruption of celebration upon the announcement of his removal. And of course, the new man at the helm of affairs in the DSS, since he assumed office, we have not seen him engage in some of these arbitrary arrests and detention. So that means for the time being, he's being professional. He's conducting the affairs of that agency within the ambits of the rule of law. And now we are challenging the IGP of police. Information reaching us is that they are working, in synergy with the Nigerian police force to frame up Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere and Honorable Chenade, for purportedly bribing, judges and whatever other imaginary crime, they are purporting to frame them up. It is not yet very clear until the deed is done. But we are here to alert the president and to tell the president to call the IG to order, to pilot the affairs of the Nigerian police within the ambits of the law. The police is established under the Constitution and under the Police Act. The police cannot now be the new institution of terror, since the removal of Bichi from the DSS. The new institution of terror seems now to be the Nigerian police force. The police force under the Police Act 2020, in Section 1A, 2A, 4B, and 5B, emphasize so much on upholding human rights, as enshrined in the Constitution and in the African Charter of Human and People's Rights. So we are telling the Inspector General of Police to ensure that his men conduct the affairs of the Nigerian police force within the ambits of the rule of law. They are not above the Constitution. The Constitution is our grand norm. The Constitution established the three arms of government. The Constitution established the police force, established the army. The Constitution established whatever you might think of, that gives you authority, to now be an instrument of terror. So we are telling IGP Egbetoku that you must pilot the affairs of the Nigerian police within the ambits of the law. You must not allow the Nigerian police force now to collaborate with the pro-Wike lawmakers, to frame up an innocent man who is fighting for the survival of democracy in Rivers State. And that innocent man who is fighting for the survival of democracy in Rivers State is nobody but Honorable Kenga Ugochinyere. And everybody, the world have testified, the whole world, Nigerians are with him. They have seen the extent of his advocacy in Rivers State and how it has helped, so far to sustain rule of law and stabilize, the government of Rivers State, which the pro-Wike lawmakers wanted to shut down, by all means and through all means possible, including breaching the fundamental laws of the land. So we are calling on the IGP of police that the police must not be a part of this conspiracy. The police is there to maintain law and order and to uphold fundamental rights of the citizens. Section 1 of the Police Act 2020 says the objective of the act is to provide for a more efficient and effective police service that is based on the principle of B, protection of human rights and fundamental freedom. I didn't write it. This is an act of the National Assembly that is signed into law by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is what must guide the IGP of police, IGP Egbetoku. The police must not be part of a conspiracy to frame up an innocent man. We are bringing it to your notice, IGP Egbetoku, that there is a plan to collaborate with the police to frame up an innocent man. We are also notifying the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that rule of law must be sustained under his administration. Rule of law must be sustained. Constructive criticisms help the government to do better where they are not doing better. If it is in the area of not respecting rule of law, if you are being criticized, you review your activities and do better. This government is founded on constitutionality. This is a government that is founded on institutions. So constitutional democracy is institutional democracy, is institutional governance. We have institutions, and our institutions must be very strong. Section 2 again, more than 5 or 10 sections under the Police Act 2020 emphasize on human rights. And that is what we are challenging IGP Egbetoku to ensure that the Nigerian police, work within the ambits of the Act, of the Police Act, work within the ambits of the provisions of the Constitution, and to not have it very clear in their mind that Nigerians have the freedom, to freely express themselves, freely express displeasure of bad governance, freely condemn corruption, freely condemn whatever you think that is not going on well in this country, or in the government of the federation, or in the government of the state, or that of a local government. That is the right we've got, to tell the governor that you are not doing well, to tell the president that you are doing well in this area, you are doing badly in this area, to tell the local government chairman that you are doing good in this area, you are doing absurd, in that area. We have that constitutional right, and that constitutional right must not be denied us. Section 2 will be, again, says that the Act will also reposition the police force to uphold and safeguard fundamental rights of every person in Nigeria. I didn't write it. This is an act of the National Assembly. So IGP Egbetoku is being challenged to ensure that the Nigerian police force is not part of this conspiracy to frame up Honorable Kenga Ugochinyere and the national chairman of APP, Honorable Barrister Uche Nadi. You want to frame them up, for committing no offense. The only offense they have committed is that they stood on the path of justice, they stood on the path of Rivers, on the side of Rivers people, and say that democracy must be sustained in Rivers State. That is the only offense they committed. And when it was, it appears that the chiefs were very high, the stakes were very high, the party committee that is under the chairmanship of Barrister Uche Nadi provided a platform through which peaceful local government election was conducted in Rivers State. That is the only crime they have committed. And right now, we are hearing, from grapevine sources that they want to make false allegation against them that they are engaged in bribery of judges and other crimes, and maybe they will tell you cyber security, defamation, and all that. That has become the new norm to oppress and suppress the people of Nigeria, particularly those that want to freely express themselves and condemn illegalities and condemn corruption, condemn the bad governance that is going on in this country. And the police has been very good in making itself available to become an instrument, to oppress the people under the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are challenging the IGP of police that you must conduct the affairs of the Nigerian police force within the ambits of the 1999 Constitution. The Constitution is ground norm. It is because there is a Constitution of Nigeria that you become IGP of police. So you must carry out your activities within the ambits of the constitutional provisions and the provisions in the Police Act. Even in Imo State of recent, somebody criticized the government of the day, Fabian Ihekweme, a former commissioner in the state. The police is now the new institution of oppression, of suppression, intimidation, harassment in this country. The police is now the new institution of perpetuating injustice against the citizens who freely speak out against the government of the day, who criticize the government constructively. As we are talking now, as we are alerting the president, we are alerting the public, to know that Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere has not committed any crime. He only stood on the path of the Constitution. He stood on the path of justice. He stood on the side of Rivers people to say democracy must be sustained. That is the only offense he has committed. And the police, look at what happened to the man in Lagos State, this lawyer, what's his name? The one who delivered to me, all the abracadabra, all the showmanship in him. If he published a book that has criminal defamatory content in it, you can quietly arrest him in court. Defamation has defense. Truth and justification is a defense for defamation. If you say I've defamed you and I'm able to prove that what I said is truth and is justified, you don't have any case. The court will throw away your case. So if somebody is alleging defamation, you conduct your activity, you can arraign him, in the most decent manner, not all the showmanship, just to show that now the police, the Nigerian police force, is not the new institution of terror. Since Bichi has been removed from DSS, the IGP Egbetoku and his Nigerian police force, they now want to be the new institution of terror. And we are telling them that this democracy, we will sustain it together. We will continue to exercise our right to free speech. We will continue to exercise our right to free speech. The Constitution guarantees us that. I don't have arm. I don't do government contract. I'm just a lawyer that is striving to survive. But nobody can deny me my constitutional right to free speech, to condemn criminality, to condemn corruption that is going on in this country. We must continue to talk about the rule of law. The rule of law must be institutionalized in this country. The rule of law must reign supreme in this country. That is what we have decided to do, and we'll continue to talk about it. So we are challenging the IGP that police force, the Nigerian police force, cannot collaborate with the pro-Wike lawmakers that are now that have now buried their face in shame, or their black market their black market application that were granted to them at the Federal High Court and now being obtained at the appellate courts. They now want to. The only option they now think they could do is to, frame up the man who is in the eye of the storm, the man who is the symbol of justice for the Rivers people, which is Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere. We are telling the IGP of police, please conduct the activities of the Nigerian police force within the ambits of the law, because it is the law that established the Nigerian police force. It is the law that has made you IGP. Without the law, without the Constitution, without the Police Act, you won't be the IGP of police. So the Constitution remains supreme, the rule of law must also reign supreme. That is our message to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ikenga Imo Egochinyere is your son. He believes in rule of law. He believes in constitutional democracy. And we are telling the President not to close his eyes, shut his eyes to injustice. When these enemies of democracy finally bring up their trump-up allegations against a man that have stood on the path of justice, on the path of truth, and on the side of the Rivers people that are being suppressed. Thank you so much.
I want to add our voice collectively as members of the civil society community in Nigeria, organized civil society community, and on behalf of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, to say that we actually got intelligence regarding a sinister plot to frame up the honorable member representing Idato North and Idato South, Honorable Ikenga Ogochinyere, just like what the lawyer by my right has expounded extensively. We want to say that it is unfortunate that the security forces in Nigeria are actually not enforcing the law in line with the rule of law as clearly provided for by the Constitution. And just like what the lawyer has actually explained, the Nigerian police, the security forces, not just Nigerian police, but Nigerian police is a primary law enforcement agency in the country, recognized by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria of 1999 as amended. The Nigerian police must adhere strictly to the rule of law. It must never allow itself to be used as an agent of illegality, such illegalities like framing up a citizen of the country. We're not one of those. We in the civil society community, we don't want to go into maybe emotional kind of advocacy. We're not. Factually speaking, every Nigerian citizen, whether he is the son of the president, whether he's Sheyi, or whether he's anybody in the country who is a citizen of this country, you have the fundamental human right to freedom of expression. And there are clearly stated provisions in the Constitution whereby if a person is alleged to have committed an offense, even when a suspect is arrested, if you go to section 36(5), the suspect who is being even prosecuted in the court of law is presumed to be innocent in the eye of the law until a contrary determination is made. Now, the police in Nigeria has constituted itself into an obstacle to the actualization, the promotion, the protection of the clearly spelled out fundamental human rights that are enshrined in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. There is also a point that was raised by the earlier speaker on the abuse of the Cybercrime Act. We want to use this opportunity to call, particularly the people that are actually affected. It's just that maybe the police is trying to use it to rope in a member of the Federal House of Representatives. But that particular law has been used to engineer a clampdown on social media activists, human rights activists, and particularly the media practitioners. It is the duty of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, the Nigerian Guild of Editors, everybody that has the interest of free practice of journalism in Nigeria to rally around and take practical, pragmatic, immediate step to look critically at that Cybercrime Act that has become a major instrument of muzzling the fundamental right of the citizens of this country. We want to add our voice to the testimony or the testament that has been given regarding the person, the persona, and the charisma of the very citizen of this country that we're talking about, who is just less than 2 years in the Federal House of Representatives and has been able to establish himself as a vocal representative of the oppressed masses. He speaks the minds of a lot of us who are not actually in government, some of us who are the common people of this country. He speaks for justice, he speaks for social justice, speaks for fairness in the society. And we had a certain conversation in some quarters within the loyalists of Wike, the Minister of Abuja. We want to say that the president should be concerned about what his cabinet level minister is actually doing with the job that has been given to him. If he takes a lot of time and deliberately distract himself by focusing on the governance that is going on in Rivers State, because of the fact that the person that won that election, the governor of Rivers State, has not agreed to become like, to become like I don't know how to call it now. Maybe somebody he's going to manipulate. The person, the governor of Rivers State, has decided to govern the state in accordance with the rule of law. So we want to say that we are actually going to put up a petition to the foreign embassies in the country regarding this plot, the intelligence we just got, that on no account should the police be used as an agent to undermine the protection of the fundamental right of Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere. The police IG has gained notoriety for being partisan in the Rivers State political imbroglio. It was the same police IG that refused to carry out his statutory function of providing security for the people of Rivers State during the local council election, based on a nebulous and a kangaroo judgment that was given. So it's very unfortunate. So we are totally in support of the call from Mr. President to investigate this set of allegations. Thank you very much.
Well, gentlemen of the press, still on the same matter, Ikenga Ugochinyere, the member representing Idato North and South in the House of Representatives, is a man that believes in rule of law. He's a trained lawyer. Honorable Barrister Uche Nadi, the national chairman of APP, is also, as a lawyer, they believe in rule of law. And they have both approached the High Court of the FCT to enforce their fundamental rights against, they have both approached the Federal High Court, to enforce their fundamental rights, against whatever plan the Pro-Wike lawmakers are doing in collaboration with the Nigerian police force, which we have alerted the IG. The IG may not be aware of it. The police force is a very large institution that has several stages and layers of commands, so the IG may not definitely be aware, but he's the overall, so we don't indict him and just speak expressly that he is aware. Let's presume that as large as the Nigerian police force is, he may not be aware. And now, with this press conference, we are informed the IG. The IG is a party to the suit. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of investigation is a party. The Commissioner of Police, FCT, where Ikenga lives, is a party to this suit. The DSS, EFCC, and the ICPC, they are all parties to this suit. If anybody, the Pro-Wike lawmakers, if they have any allegation, any genuine criminal allegation against Ikenga Ugochinyere, let them bring it up and maybe approach the right authority and so that they can investigate and do what the law commands they should do. But going to tell lies against a man that is standing on the path of truth, on the path of justice, to now frame him up that he bribed judges. If you say he bribed judges, he should also provide the judge that he bribed, and the judge should also come out to say this person bribed me, and then maybe also prove their communication channel, So what they are doing is just another set of nonsense, another set of muzzle flexing. They just want to show that they are alive. They just want to show that they are not finished. But I'm talking that politically they are irrelevant, in the terms of affairs of Rivers State, because the law has taken its course, and whatever that has happened in Rivers State it has been approached within the ambits of the law. So we are once again calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the IGP of Police to know that Honorable Kenga Imo has gone to enforce his fundamental rights. So the issue is now sub judice, and we will pursue it to a logical conclusion. Let me once again use this opportunity to admonish our IG. We presume that as large as the police formation is, he is not part of those who are conspiring, to frame up Ikenga, on false allegations. We presume he's not part of them because the police force is very large organization. But IG, the work stops on your table. So by the time they now bring up this false allegation, by the time they now bring up these false charges against Ikenga Gochinyere, we have now alerted you. We have also informed you that you're in court. So we will be expecting that the IG will constitute an independent, unbiased investigative team, to investigate whatever false allegation that they may be bringing up against Honorable Ikenga Gochinyere and Barrister Uche Nade, the people that have stood on the path of justice, the people that have stood on the path of Rivers people, on the path of democracy, like our president. He is a man, a symbol of democracy. Our president fought for democracy. Our president stood for democracy. And we are saying that democracy under Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu must stand. Democracy under Bola Ahmed Tinubu must have all the ingredients of a constitutional democracy: human rights, rule of law. Democracy under your watchful eye must not be a democracy under a dictatorship, or the kind of democracy that.
There's also a point I want to add. I want to add to what he said. There is a clear indication that the DSS is involved in this. A clear indication that the DSS is actually involved. Their hands are not clean. Certain individuals, officers in the DSS, are actually partnering with the police to try to frame up Honorable Ikenga Oguchime. Look, we are warning the hierarchy of the DSS. We're not begging. We're not begging. We're citizens of this country. We're not going to run away from this country. You don't have to be a son of the governor to exercise your right in this country. You don't pick people as if they are just rats you pick on the street. We are citizens that were born. We are born freely. We have our fundamental right to protect. So the president should investigate the officers within the DSS that have ganged up to try to rope in this gentleman. So it's not just the police that is involved in this. Even the DSS is also actually involved. And if the new DSS DG has started creating an impression, at least some of his friends in the media have been writing. Some of the friends of the DSS DG, the new DSS DG, have been putting up certain articles in the newspapers, trying to present him as a new breed kind of DSS DG, but there's no sign yet that we actually have a new breed in the DSS. They are all almost the same, whether it's Bichi, whether it's whoever is there. But what we're saying is that there is a standard of operations. There is a rule of engagement, and there is the Constitution of Nigeria. Just like what the lawyer has said, Constitution is the supreme law of the country. Everybody in this country, authorities and even citizens, are under the provisions of the Constitution. And by the way, the DSS must know that the citizens of Nigeria are the owners of the sovereignty of Nigeria. Those who are in government are not, they don't equate to the sovereignty of this country. The owners of the sovereignty of Nigeria are the citizens. Those who are in government must come to the citizens to obtain the legitimacy to exercise authority. That's what the Constitution says in chapter 14. So let's not assume, let the DSS or the police not assume that those who are in government, Mr. President and the rest of them, have the extra constitutional powers to do whatever they want to do without limiting their activities within the frameworks, within the provisions of the Constitution. Thank you.
Well, initially I talked about the DSS. What I was saying, I didn't exonerate their participation in the plot that we have uncovered about the imminent plan to frame up Honorable Kenga Ugochukwu. What I'm saying is that so far the new DG of DSS, have not turned the place, to an instrument of oppression. I gave a very vivid example of how Bichi, turned the DSS to a terror organization, and even the disgrace, that followed him when he left office. It's a very big disgrace, that everybody that has opportunity to occupy a public office, should learn from. A very big disgrace. Bichi was disgraced out of office immediately upon the staff of that agency hearing on radio. On radio, they didn't even confirm on radio that he has been removed. It's on social media, it's everywhere. The place erupted. Just to show you that the man was a monster. The man was a beast in that place. He terrorized his own staff. He institutionalized nepotism. Bitch institutionalized nepotism. Unless you are from a section of the country, you are of a particular faith, you cannot attend conferences, you cannot go for any course, you cannot climb, you cannot be promoted, you cannot be a director in any of the directorates. So when he left, he was disgraced. His own people, his own staff, people he presided over their affairs for years, disgrace him, celebrating him that the monster have left us. So if the new DSS director also want to be a monster, if you also want to toe the line of illegality, the line of unconstitutionality, to turn the DSS to a dungeon, an institution of unconstitutionality, where people are detained arbitrarily, you don't know when you will be taken to court, you don't know when you will be charged, you don't know when you will be caught for them to extract your statement. If that is what they think is best for that institution, he should also toe the line of unconstitutionality and illegality. We also hope that one day he may also be disgraced out of office. We should always think of, the legacy we leave, in any place we have presided over, any place we have been called, to be at the helm of affairs, should be thinking about the legacy, that should be of me after I leave this office. So what I'm saying that the new DG of DSS, if men of your agency are also part of this conspiracy, to frame up an innocent man, now we have informed you, and we will also take further steps to inform you further by writing you officially, serving you also of the court processes that we have filed, so that you will be officially notified, in addition to our media partnership, because the media is the watchdog of the society. If not for the media, we would have reverted back to the primordial state of nature when life was brutish, nasty, and short. And when people could still wake up, kill one another, turn one another to, whatever you want to turn them into, and enslave them, and nobody, would come to your aid. So we are here to partner with the media to tell Nigerians, to tell the whole world that Honorable Kenga Ugochukwu is an innocent man, he's a decent Democrat, he believes in constitutional democracy, and he has been advocating for the sustenance of constitutional democracy in Nigeria. That is the only offense we know he has committed. The only offense we also know that Barrister Uche Nadi, the chairman of APP, the Action People's Party, the only offense we also know that he committed is that his party provided a platform for the people of Rivers State when the stakes were so high, for a peaceful local government election. And of course, you see that since after that election, there is peace in Rivers State, the people are at peace, the governance is going on, the governor is delivering dividend of democracy for the people of Rivers State. So if that is also a crime he has committed, well, we will revert back to the Electoral Act and the Constitution that empowered INEC to register political parties, and also look at the statutory duties, powers and responsibilities of political parties under our constitutional democracy to also know where Barrister Uche Nnadi has committed any crime, because his party provided a platform for a peaceful democratic transition at the Rivers State local government level. So we are calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria once more. The President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you were a Democrat, you fought for democracy, and you have been fighting for democracy. You are the leader and sponsor and chief advisor of all protests, of all pro-democracy protests that have ever happened in this country from 1999 to date. And you are now the man what we are calling for. That is what we are clamoring for. And we believe that our president is a listening president. We remind you that Ikenga Imugochinyere is your son. He believes in constitutional democracy like you, and you will believe that you will be there, to ensure that he gets justice when he's finally framed up, when they finally bring up the false allegation. Thank you so much.
And maybe I want to add, I don't know if we have more time, I want to add that there are units within the DSS and the police that are actually actively plotting the sinister motives and the false allegations against Honorable Ikenga Imugochinyere. So we're taxing the DG of the DSS and the IG of police to clearly find out exactly where the
Honorable Ikenga Imugochinyere, is very uncertain. We don't even know, as we are talking, whether he has been apprehended or held, but we still believe, that we will communicate with him, as soon as possible. What we are here.
Labor lends to believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.